Say what you will about Christopher Ward. You could love them, you could hate them. It really doesn't matter. There's no denying the fact that they are coming out with some incredible watches. Every year they come out with something, a new release that turns the watch world upside down. And today, we're taking a look at one of those releases. This is their new flagship Sealander, and it's a true GMT. This is not getting an ETA movement, it's not getting a Sellita movement. I know I make a lot of videos about Christopher Ward here on my channel, but if I didn't bring you a watch like this, I would be doing you a disservice. Not only does it get an incredible movement, but it's also really good looking. I have one hands-on, so let's flip the camera and take a look at the C63 True GMT from Christopher Ward. Well, here it is. It's really hard to hate on a watch like this when it looks this good. There's really no denying Christopher Ward right now. I make a lot of videos about Christopher Ward because I do believe in these watches. And this is what they're producing. Take a look at the dial on this watch. There are a few different layers and there are a few different textures. Most of those textures are different styles of graining. It's actually just different intensities, I think. When you look at this with the loop, there is a few different sections. So there's that outer ring, which is the 24-hour ring. Then there is a gray portion of the dial where the indices are housed. And then you have a central portion of the dial. There are two subdials. You have a power reserve because, of course, this is a 120-hour power reserve movement, a 5-day movement. The CW002 this is called, which is basically their 001 with a GMT function. And then you have, at the 6 o'clock position, a small seconds. The sub-registers that you see here are actually applied. So they aren't stamped into the dial, they're actually applied to the dial, which is pretty incredible. And then everything gets this beautiful grained texture. It's almost in different intensities, but it might look that way only because it's segmented so much. There are different portions of the dial, and there are clear differences between those portions of the dial. And then there's something that you just can't ignore. There's a little window that shows you the GMT wheel. It's at the 3 o'clock. It's an almond-shaped window, and it exposes the GMT bridge, which is hand finished. So they did some sandblasting on there, hand polishing, and some brushing on it as well. And then below that, you can see the GMT wheel. I would imagine they did this to maybe save some height on the watch, so make it a little bit thinner by exposing that bridge and that wheel. I think they maybe did that to make it a thinner watch, but overall, I think it adds to the appeal of the dial. When you first look at this watch, you might be a little bit confused that it's a GMT because it might look a little bit more complicated than that. That's how I felt when I first saw it. I didn't really understand that this was just a GMT. I thought it was more complicated until I got into the details. So maybe they were solving an issue in doing this, and what they did was make it look a little bit more interesting. I love it. This is in silver and orange. So you have an orange GMT hand. The sub-register at 9 o'clock, which is the power reserve, that gets an orange hand. And then there's another orange accent on the date window. Just to the right of the date window is just a little tab that's in orange that matches all the other orange accents that are on the dial. Of course, this one is getting an orange strap. They're making a black dial that gets all the same elements, except not in orange, in a light blue. And that comes on a light blue strap. I really want to see that one in person. I'm not sure which one I would like better. This one is so good looking though. And when you flip this over, when you turn it on its side, of course you have the light catcher case. There are plenty of facets and beautiful areas of polishing and brushing on the case. It is always a pleasure to take a look at the light catcher case because it's made and constructed so well, but then finished to a standard that is much higher than its price point, in my opinion. And I always say that. People sometimes agree with me, sometimes don't. The fact is that I see tons of watches, and this is just a step above a lot of expensive watches out there. That's just my opinion. I feel it. I look at it. I have these watches hands-on, so I kind of get a lot of experience with them. And that's the reason why I say that. You get a boxed sapphire crystal on the front. As you can see, it's slightly domed as well. You're getting the same on the case back, and they do that, again, to make the watch seem thinner, to wear thinner, because you do have a very large movement in here, and it is a very large modern movement. It looks fantastic. You have that big tungsten rotor that is engraved with the Christopher Ward name. You have their twin barrel. Both of those are decorated as well. There is circular striping. It is gorgeous. It's just a good looking movement. I own a few watches with different iterations of this movement, and I love it. In fact, one of my watches is not a Christopher Ward that has this movement in it, and it's a hand-wound version of it. And that is a gorgeous movement as well. 120 hours of power reserve, so 5 days of power reserve, and it gets that tungsten rotor. It's finished beautifully. You have Cotes de Genève, and then, of course, those laser-engraved surfaces on the rotor and on those barrels. It looks good. It's not skeletonized, but there's some cutouts so that you can see the barrels. This does not look like a Christopher Ward, and it doesn't look like something that is off the shelf. It looks like something very bespoke. However, this is not going to be a limited edition, which I was very surprised by. Also, at the same time, I'm kind of happy about that. I'm happy that it's not a limited edition. That means you'll be able to get one. So if you like this watch, eventually you'll be able to buy one. They may sell out initially, but they will restock and you'll be able to get one. You get 100 meters of water resistance, a screwed-in crown, a screwed-in case back, and of course you get to see the movement from the back, even though it gets that 100 meters of water resistance. Measurements on this watch, well, I've measured it in at 40.5 millimeters. I think they call this a 41 millimeter watch. It wears like a 40.5, really, almost spot on. You have a 47.5 millimeter lug to lug and a 14 millimeter thickness. That's actually not that bad considering how complicated this watch looks. And of course that it's an in-house automatic and you have that very boxed sapphire crystal in the front and the back. So I wouldn't say it wears like a 14 millimeter thick watch at all, and you'll see it on my wrist in just a second. On my wrist today I have one of the coolest watches that they released last year and they just made delivery on. This is the Lumiere Belcanto. This is my personal Lumiere Belcanto. I love this watch. It's just so much fun. And this was a very under the radar release from last year. This was not their big release. This was just last minute, last release of the year, one of the last releases of the year. And they dropped this. And of course, I was blown away by it. I love lume. The strap is fully lumed. That dial is fully lumed. It's a Belcanto, so it's really good looking. It doesn't look like a Belcanto. It looks like something out of Tron a little bit. I love it. And that's the reason why I had to have it. Very quickly, the functionality here is very simple. It's a true GMT. All that means is that when you pop the crown, you do have a screwed-in crown because you do get 100 meters of water resistance. You can go in either direction with the local hour hand. That is it. It's a true GMT. That's how it functions. That is all. When you're doing that, you can see that GMT wheel turn. Pretty cool that it's exposed, and you can see that it's turning right underneath the dial. I think that looks really good. It sounds really good. It feels really good. It feels really well made in hand, and I like that you're able to see that GMT wheel. And there it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. This is definitely a luxury watch. There's no denying that this is a luxury watch from Christopher Ward. Christopher Ward do make luxury watches. Most of their watches are considered affordable, I would say, in my opinion. I know some people out there will disagree with me. This is a luxury watch that is not priced like a luxury watch. If this had any other brand name on this dial except for Christopher Ward, it would cost 10 to in the tens of thousands of dollars. But it doesn't, because it's a Christopher Ward, and they keep the prices at normal levels. I cannot say that for a lot of brands, especially independent brands. If this had an independent brand name on it, forget about it. It would be a lot of money. I'll get into price in just a few seconds, but this is a 40.5 millimeter watch. I have a 7.5 inch wrist, 47 millimeter lug to lug, just about 47, between 47 and 48 millimeters, and then 14 millimeters thick. But you can see it does not wear thick on my 7.5 inch wrist. It actually wears very, very nicely. The only complaint that I would have, And something that maybe they can do in the future, I would love to see them try and put some on-the-fly micro adjust built into their clasps. That I think they could do. It would be an innovation that other brands have already done, but it would be a big innovation for them and add a lot of adjustability to straps like this. I don't have a problem usually with straps, but it would be cool for them to try and do that. Other than that, I really don't have any complaints. I think it's really good looking. I like the design. I love the graining on the dial. I love the movement. I think it looks really good on this strap. I don't normally like a molded end strap. This also comes on the batter bracelet, which they've upgraded for this. Not just for this release. I think they did it for a previous release. So now it has some really nice polished edges. And obviously that goes throughout the bracelet. I don't have that bracelet to show you guys, but I do have it on this strap, which looks phenomenal. Quickly, let's do a lume shot and talk about price. Well, there you go. Lume is very liberally applied to the indices and hands. There is no lume on the seconds hand. So that would be my only other complaint about this watch. I wish there was a little bit of lume on the seconds hand so that you could see it's working in the dark. Other than that, everything else is lumed and very liberally applied with lume, as you would expect from Christopher Ward. Price on this watch is $3,995 as you see it on this orange strap. Under $4,000. Just under $4,000, but under $4,000. And then it's $4,135 if you want the batter bracelet with on-the-fly micro adjust. It's in stainless steel, and I think it looks fantastic. It's a true GMT, which I know a lot of people like. It's a little bit harder to do, and they took on the challenge, and they did it in-house. Rather than getting something like a Miyota 975, I think they probably said to themselves, we don't have a choice. It's either we're going to use a Sellita SW330, which they already use for other watches, or we're going to go all the way and put our money down and pay for our own movement. And that's what they did here. It looks fantastic, it's functional, and it's really well made. I own a few watches with the CW001 or the SH21, whatever you want to call it. I love those watches, and I love this movement. It's just so good looking. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Price on here, $3,995 is the way I would get it. I think I would get it on this strap, or I would get the black with the blue strap. I think that looks really good. But, you know, for just $100, $140, whatever it is, more, I would probably go for the bracelet and then buy the strap. I don't know. It's a really good offering, though, at that price, in my opinion. I think it's fantastic. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and that is really it, guys. I will catch you guys in the next video.